The massive ship floated in the dark space above Earth. Its metal body stretched for miles, covered in lights that blinked in patterns unknown to human eyes. Inside the ship, Commander Zektar stood before a wall of screens that showed data about the blue planet below. Zektar had 6 arms and gray skin that looked like stone. His species, the Vorthani, had been exploring space for over 10,000 years. They knew how to judge planets and the life forms that lived on them. This was just another job for him. Science Officer Nalketh, show me the final numbers, Zektar said in his deep voice. Nalketh moved to the main screen. Her 4 eyes focused on the data as she read the report. Commander, the planet Earth shows very low development levels. The dominant species calls themselves humans. The screen filled with images of Earth. Cities with tall buildings, but also large areas of empty land. Ships that moved on water, not through space. Flying machines that used burning fuel instead of energy cores. Their technology level? Zektar asked. Primitive. They still burn fossil fuels for energy. Their fastest ships cannot even reach their own moon quickly. They have no shields, no energy weapons, no faster-than-light travel. Zektar nodded. This was what he expected. Most planets were like this when the Galactic Council found them. Weak species that needed guidance from their betters. What about their military strength? Nalketh pulled up more images. Humans in green clothes carrying metal weapons, large metal vehicles with wheels, flying machines that dropped bombs. They fight with chemical explosives and metal projectiles. Very basic. Their largest weapons could barely damage our smallest, scout ship. They fight among themselves constantly. We counted over 50 different conflicts happening right now on their planet. The commander looked at images of human wars. Soldiers running across fields, cities with broken buildings, people carrying their belongings as they fled from fighting. Foolish creatures, Zektar said. They waste their energy fighting each other instead of working together. How many different groups do they have? Over 200 separate nations. Each one has its own leaders and laws. They cannot agree on anything. Some areas have no central government at all. This made Zektar shake his large head. Successful species learn to work together early in their development. These humans seem to enjoy conflict. Show me their environment. The screen changed to show forests being cut down, rivers filled with waste, air thick with smoke over large cities, dead fish floating in poisoned water. They are destroying their own planet, Nalketh reported. Their population grows too fast. They use up resources without thinking about the future. At this rate, their world will be unable to support them within 200 years. Zektar had seen this before on other worlds. Species that grew too quickly and used up everything around them usually died out before they could reach the stars. It was sad but common. What about their social structure? Chaos. They have many different belief systems that cause conflict. Some groups have much wealth, while others have very little. Their leaders change constantly through something they call elections, or through violence. The commander walked closer to the screens. He studied the images of humans going about their daily lives. They looked so small and weak compared to the Vorthani. Most were much shorter and had thin skin that looked easy to damage. Any signs of advanced science or hidden technology? None, Commander. We scanned their entire planet. Their most advanced computers are slower than our basic tools. They have no knowledge of quantum mechanics or dimensional travel. They think they are alone in the universe. Zektar almost felt sorry for them, such limited creatures trapped on one small world. Have they detected our ship? No, sir. Our cloaking systems are far beyond their ability to see. We have been watching them for 6 months, and they have no idea we exist. Far below on Earth, Captain Jake Morrison floated inside the International Space Station. He was checking the instruments when strange readings appeared on his screen, energy spikes that made no sense. The numbers jumped around like something was interfering with the equipment. Jake frowned and tapped the screen. The readings continued to show impossible values. He ran a diagnostic check on the instruments. Everything seemed to be working correctly. Probably. Just solar interference, he said to himself. The sun had been active lately, sending out energy bursts that could affect their sensitive equipment. He made a note in the log and continued with his work. Above him, invisible to all human technology, the alien ship continued its study. Back on the Vorthani vessel, Zektar was ready to finish his report. Based on all evidence, what classification should we give this planet? Nalketh checked her data one more time. All factors point to Class 9, Commander. Primitive technology, divided social groups, environmental destruction, constant warfare, and no space capability, they meet every requirement for the lowest classification. Class 9 was reserved for species that pose no threat to galactic civilization. They were usually left alone until they either grew up or destroyed themselves. The Galactic Council had more important things to worry about than primitive worlds. Any positive traits worth noting? They do show some creativity in their art and music. Some individuals display high intelligence, but as a species, they are clearly not ready for contact with advanced civilizations. Zektar made the final decision. Classification: Class 9. Threat level: none. Recommendation: minimal. Observation: check back in 1,000 years to see if they still exist. The report was sent through space to the Galactic Council headquarters on the planet Zentara. Bureaucrats there would file it away with thousands of other reports about primitive worlds. Earth would be marked as unimportant and forgotten. Should we leave a monitoring probe? Nalketh asked. No need. Class 9 species rarely survive long enough to become interesting. We have more important work to do. The great ship began to turn away from Earth. Its mission was complete. Zektar and his crew would move on to survey other worlds, looking for species that might be worth the Council's attention. None of them noticed that their energy readings had been detected by human instruments. None of them saw Jake Morrison making notes about the strange interference. They had no idea that humans had a habit of investigating things they did not understand. The Vorthani were experts at judging alien species. They had classified thousands of worlds. Their system had worked perfectly for millennia. But they had made one crucial mistake about humans. They had judged them only by what they could see on the surface. They had not looked deeper to find the qualities that would soon shock the entire galaxy. As the alien ship disappeared into deep space, Earth continued to spin peacefully in the darkness. Humans went about their daily lives, unaware that they had just been examined and dismissed as harmless primitives. The classification was complete. Earth was Class 9, the lowest of the low. Soon the entire galaxy would learn just how wrong that assessment had been. 3 months had passed since the survey ship left Earth. The Galactic Council had reviewed the report and marked Earth as a Class 9 world. Now it was time for the next step in their standard process. Ambassador Velkan stood on the bridge of the diplomatic vessel Harmony Seeker. The ship was much smaller than the survey vessel, designed for peaceful contact with primitive species. Velkan belonged to the Kethmari race, known throughout the galaxy for their skill in dealing with undeveloped civilizations. "Are we ready to begin first contact?" Velkan asked his pilot. "Yes, Ambassador. We have selected a landing site away from major population centers. The area has minimal military presence according to our scans." The ship descended through Earth's atmosphere. Below them stretched the plains of Colorado. Small towns dotted the landscape, connected by thin roads. It looked peaceful and harmless, exactly what they expected from a Class 9 world. "Remember," Velkan told his small crew, "these humans are primitive. We must be patient with them. They will be frightened and confused by our technology. Speak slowly and use simple words." The ship landed in an open field near the town of Denver. Velkan had studied human behavior from the survey data. He knew they would be amazed by his ship and eager to trade their resources for basic technology. What he did not know was that Marine Sergeant Lisa Hayes was conducting training exercises with her unit just 5 miles away. Lisa heard the roar of engines overhead and looked up to see something that made no sense. The object in the sky was too big to be any aircraft she knew. It moved too smoothly and made no sound after the initial engine noise. "Johnson, get me the field glasses," she called to one of her Marines. Through the binoculars, Lisa watched the strange craft land in Farmer Peterson's wheat field. It was unlike anything in any military manual she had studied. The shape was wrong. The materials looked strange. And it had just landed without any radio contact with air traffic control. "Sergeant, should we report this?" asked Corporal Danny Foster. Lisa was already reaching for her radio. "Command, this is Hayes. We have an unidentified aircraft down in Sector 7. No distress signals received. Request permission to investigate." "Copy that, Hayes. Proceed with caution. Air Force says they have no aircraft in that area." Lisa gathered her squad of 12 Marines. They loaded their weapons and climbed into their vehicles. As they drove toward the landing site, none of them could have imagined they were about to make first contact with an alien species. Meanwhile, Ambassador Velcon stepped out of his ship with 2 assistants. He carried a translation device that should allow him to communicate with the humans. In his other hand, he held a small device that would demonstrate superior technology to impress the primitives. The Kethmari looked similar to humans, but taller and thinner. Their skin was pale blue, and they had large black eyes. Velcon wore flowing robes that marked his status as a diplomat. "The air is breathable," reported his assistant. "Local temperature is comfortable. No signs of dangerous wildlife." Velcon activated his translator and began practicing simple phrases. "Greetings, humans. We come in peace. We wish to trade with you." He expected the local humans to approach slowly, probably carrying simple weapons like spears or primitive firearms. The survey had shown they were easily frightened, but curious about new things. Lisa and her Marines crested a small hill and saw the alien ship in the field below. It was massive, at least 200 feet long, and covered in smooth panels that reflected light in strange ways. "Holy hell," whispered Private Martinez. "What is that thing?" "Stay calm," Lisa ordered. "Whatever it is, we follow protocol. Secure the perimeter and identify any threats." She radioed for backup while her squad took defensive positions around the field. Through her binoculars, she could see 3 figures standing near the ship. They were tall and moved in ways that looked almost human, but not quite right. "They don't look like any enemy soldiers I've seen," reported Corporal Foster. Lisa studied the figures more carefully. Their proportions were wrong. Too tall, too thin, and their skin looked blue in the morning light. "This is either some kind of test or we're dealing with something way above our pay grade," she said. "Everyone stay sharp and wait for my signal." Velcon saw movement on the hills around his landing site. Small figures were taking positions behind rocks and in ditches. This surprised him. The survey had indicated humans were disorganized and slow to respond to new situations. "Ambassador," his assistant said nervously, "those appear to be military units. They have weapons pointed at us." Velcon activated his translator and tried to call out to the humans. "Greetings. We are peaceful. Visitors, we wish to speak with your leaders." But the translation device was not working properly. Instead of clear speech, it produced static and broken words that made no sense. Through her radio, Lisa heard the strange sounds coming from the tall figures. It sounded like no language she had ever heard, mixed with electronic noise. "Command. The occupants are trying to communicate, but we cannot understand them. They appear to be not human. Request immediate backup and specialist teams." "Copy that, Hayes. Support is en route. Do not engage unless fired upon." Lisa's training told her to be cautious with unknown contacts. The strange beings might be hostile. Their ship could contain weapons, and she had 12 Marines to protect. Velcon was growing frustrated. The translator should have worked perfectly. With such a primitive language, he tried adjusting the settings, but this only made the static worse. "Perhaps we should return to the ship and contact the council," suggested his assistant. "No, Velkan replied. "These are Class 9 primitives. They cannot possibly threaten us. We will complete our mission." He decided to demonstrate his superior technology to impress the humans. Pulling out his energy projector, he aimed it at a large rock and fired. The rock exploded in a flash of blue light. Lisa saw the explosion and made an instant decision. Unknown hostiles had just demonstrated weapons capability in a threatening manner. "Take cover! Weapons free! Protect yourselves!" Her Marines immediately took firing positions. 12 M4 rifles were now aimed at the aliens. The sound of weapons being chambered echoed across the field. Velkan was shocked. The humans were pointing their primitive weapons at him. This was not how first contact was supposed to go. Class 9 species were supposed to be impressed by superior technology, not threatened by it. "Wait," he called out, but his translator was still not working. The sounds that came out were just more static. Lisa saw one of the tall figures raising what looked like a weapon in her direction. She had seconds to make a decision that would affect the future of humanity. "Warning shots," she ordered. "Do not hit them unless they fire first." The Marines opened fire, sending bullets into the ground near the aliens' feet. The sound of automatic weapons filled the air. Velkan and his assistants dove for cover behind their ship. Energy weapons were bad enough, but these humans were using projectile weapons that could actually damage their ship's hull. "Ambassador!" his assistant shouted over the gunfire. "We need to leave. These primitives are more aggressive than the survey indicated." Velkan was confused and angry. This was supposed to be a simple diplomatic mission. Class 9 species did not behave this way. They were supposed to be grateful for contact with advanced civilizations. More vehicles were approaching from multiple directions. Lisa could see dust clouds on 3 different roads. Military vehicles, police cars, and news helicopters were all converging on the field. "Command, situation is escalating rapidly. Unknown hostiles have superior weapons and a large ship. We need heavy support immediately." Within an hour, the small field in Colorado was surrounded by hundreds of military personnel, news crews, and government officials. The aliens remained trapped behind their ship, unable to communicate and unwilling to surrender. The standoff had begun. What should have been a peaceful first contact between an advanced civilization and primitive humans had turned into an armed confrontation. Both sides were confused, frightened, and completely unprepared for what was happening. Ambassador Velkan could not understand how Class 9 primitives had responded so quickly and effectively to his arrival. His report to the Galactic Council would have to include some very uncomfortable facts about human military capabilities. Lisa Hayes had no idea that her split-second decision to take defensive positions had just changed the course of galactic history. Earth was about to be reclassified in a way no one could have predicted. The galaxy was about to learn that humans were much more dangerous than anyone had believed. The standoff in the Colorado field lasted 6 hours. During that time, the world changed forever. News helicopters circled overhead, broadcasting live footage of the alien ship to every corner of Earth. Social media exploded with videos taken by civilians from nearby towns. Within minutes, everyone on the planet knew that humanity was not alone in the universe. President Nicole Barnes sat in the Situation Room in Washington, watching the live feeds with her top advisors. The images were clear enough to see that the 3 figures behind the alien ship were definitely not human. "How long before we get expert opinions?" she asked. General Carl Bennett, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, checked his watch. "Dr. Alan Carter from the Xenobiology Institute is already on a helicopter to Colorado. He should be there within 2 hours. "What?" "About international response." Secretary of State Linda Martinez pulled up reports from around the world. "Every major government is calling for information. The Russians are moving military units toward their borders. China has gone to high alert. Everyone is scared this might be an invasion." President Barnes nodded grimly. "Get me a secure line. To all world leaders. If this is first contact, humanity needs to speak with one voice." Back in Colorado, the situation was growing more tense by the hour. Lisa Hayes had been reinforced by 2 full companies of Marines, an Army Ranger unit, and specialized equipment from 3 different military bases. The alien ship had not moved. But sensors detected energy readings that made everyone nervous. Whatever power source it used was beyond human understanding. "Sergeant Hayes," called Colonel Frank Murphy, the new commanding officer on scene. "Bring me up to speed." Lisa saluted and gave her report. "Sir, 3 hostile entities with superior weapons technology. They fired some kind of energy weapon at a rock, completely destroying it. When we took defensive positions, they retreated behind their ship. No further communication. Attempts have succeeded." Colonel Murphy studied the alien ship through binoculars. It was beautiful in a way that human technology could never match. The curves were perfect. The materials seemed to glow with their own light. "Any signs they might try to leave?" "Negative, sir. The ship hasn't moved since landing. Our scientists think they might be waiting for something." Behind the alien ship, Ambassador Velkan was indeed waiting, but not for what the humans expected. His emergency communication to the Galactic Council had reached them 3 hours ago. The response was swift and decisive. "Attention, Ambassador Velkan," came the voice through his communicator. "You are to maintain your position until reinforcements arrive. Fleet Commander Zarthek is en route with Enforcement Squadron 7. Velkan's assistant looked worried. "Ambassador, Enforcement Squadron 7? That seems excessive for Class 9 primitives," the bod. "Council is being cautious," Velkan replied. "These humans have shown unexpected aggression. Better to be prepared." What Velkan did not know was that his report had caused panic among the Council leadership. A Class 9 species that could respond to first contact with organized military force was unheard of. Either their classification system was flawed, or something on Earth had changed dramatically since the survey. Dr. Alan Carter arrived at the scene just as the sun was setting. The xenobiologist had studied theoretical alien contact scenarios for 20 years, but nothing had prepared him for the reality. "Colonel Murphy?" he introduced himself. "I'm here to attempt communication." "Be careful, Doctor. We don't know if they're hostile or just scared." Dr. Carter approached the perimeter with a small team carrying various communication devices, radio transmitters, visual displays, even basic mathematical symbols written on large boards. He called out in a clear voice, "We are peaceful humans. We want to talk with you." From behind the ship, Velkan heard the words through his partially functioning translator. The static was less now, and some words were coming through clearly. "They say they are peaceful," he told his assistants. "But they still have weapons pointed at us. Perhaps we could lower our defensive screens?" suggested his assistant. "Absolutely not. These primitives have already shown they will attack without provocation." Dr. Carter tried several different approaches. He showed mathematical equations, played music, even tried sign language. Each time there was no response from behind the ship. "They're either unable to communicate or unwilling to," he reported to Colonel Murphy. "I recommend we wait for them to make the next move." That next move came from Space Enforcement Squadron. 7 dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. 5 ships, each one larger than a city block. They began accelerating toward Earth at speeds that defied human understanding of physics. Fleet Commander Zarthek reviewed the situation reports as his ships approached. The images from Earth's surface confused him. The humans had responded to first contact with military precision that seemed impossible for a Class 9 species. "Navigation, how long until we reach Earth?" 4 hours at current speed, Commander. "Communications, send a message to all human governments. Tell them we are coming to resolve the situation peacefully." The message was broadcast on all radio frequencies as the alien fleet entered Earth's atmosphere. Every government, every military base, every radio station on the planet received the same transmission. "Attention, inhabitants of Earth. This is Fleet Commander Zarthek of the Galactic Council Enforcement Division. We are responding to an incident involving our diplomatic team. We wish to resolve this matter without conflict. Please clear your airspace and prepare for landing. President Barnes was back in the Situation Room when the message came through. The translation was perfect, which was almost as frightening as the content. "How many ships?" she asked. "Satellite tracking shows 5 large objects moving toward Earth. Current speed suggests they will arrive in less than 4 hours." General Bennett was already coordinating with military commanders worldwide. "Madam President, we need to assume hostile intent. 5 alien warships heading for Earth after their diplomats were involved in an armed confrontation. What are our options? Limited. We have no weapons that can reach them in space, and no idea what their capabilities are on the ground." For the first time in human history, every major world leader was on the same conference call. Russian President Volkov, Chinese Premier Wang, British Prime Minister Johnson, and leaders from 50 other nations. "We need to present a united front," President Barnes said. "Whatever these aliens want, humanity will face it together." The speed of human cooperation impressed even the skeptics. Within 2 hours, joint military commands were established. Within 4 hours, a unified Earth government was declared for the purposes of alien contact. Captain Amy Rodriguez commanded the USS Columbia, humanity's most advanced warship. She received orders to lead a hastily assembled international fleet to meet the alien ships. "Ma'am," reported her tactical officer, "we have 17 ships from 6 different navies. That's everything we could get into position in time." "Any word on what we're supposed to do when we meet them?" "Negotiate if possible, fight if necessary." The alien fleet approached Earth and saw something that amazed them. Instead of the divided, chaotic species described in the Class 9 report, they found humans working together with unprecedented efficiency. Every major city had been evacuated. Military forces from around the world were moving into defensive positions. Communication networks that had been separate were now coordinated into a single command structure. "Commander," reported Zarthek's science officer, "these humans are not behaving like Class 9 primitives. They have organized global cooperation in less than 12 hours. Zarthek studied the data. The humans had no space-based weapons, but they had mobilized their entire planet for defense. Ships that had been in different navies were now working together. Aircraft from multiple countries were flying in coordinated formations. How is this possible? The survey clearly indicated they were divided and constantly fighting among themselves. Perhaps the survey was incorrect, Commander. As the alien fleet entered Earth's atmosphere, both sides prepared for what might be the most important battle in human history. The aliens expected to face a divided, primitive species. Instead, they found humanity united for the first time in its history. The Class 9 rating was about to be proven catastrophically wrong. President Barnes addressed the world one final time before the aliens landed. "Citizens of Earth, we face the unknown together. We may be just one small planet, but we are not alone. We have each other." In Colorado, Lisa Hayes watched the alien ships descending from orbit. Her small unit had started something that would change everything. "Sergeant," asked Corporal Foster, "what do you think happens now?" Lisa checked her weapon and looked at the massive ships filling the sky. "Now we find out what humans are really made of." The alien enforcement fleet landed in 5 different locations around the globe. New York, London, Tokyo, Beijing, and Moscow each became host to a massive alien warship. The message was clear. The Galactic Council wanted to speak with all of Earth's major powers at once. In an underground bunker beneath the Pentagon, the world's top scientists and engineers worked around the clock. Dr. Patricia Stone had been given the most important assignment in human history: figure out how alien technology worked and do it fast. She stood over fragments of alien material that had been scraped from the diplomatic ship's landing site in Colorado. The metal was unlike anything in the periodic table. It was lighter than aluminum but stronger than steel, and it seemed to generate its own energy. "Run the spectrometer analysis again," she told her assistant, Dr. Kevin Walsh. Same results. Patricia, the atomic structure doesn't match any known elements. It's like the aliens have access to matter we've never seen before. Patricia picked up a small piece of the alien metal. It was warm to the touch and seemed to pulse with a faint light. What if we're thinking about this wrong? What if this isn't just advanced technology, but a completely different approach to engineering? Meanwhile, in Hangar 7 at Edwards Air Force Base, Commander Steve Collins was preparing for a mission that had seemed impossible just days ago. Engineers had worked for 72 hours straight to modify human fighter jets with reverse-engineered alien technology. "Collins, you sure about this?" asked General Bennett over the radio. "We've never tested these modifications in actual flight." Steve checked his instruments. Half of them were completely new, built from alien components salvaged from the Colorado site. The other half were standard human technology pushed far beyond its design limits. "General, if we wait for proper testing, there might not be an Earth left to defend." "My squadron is ready." Behind him, 11 other pilots prepared identical modified fighters. They called themselves the Hybrid Squadron, the first human pilots to fly with alien technology. Dr. Patricia Stone made a breakthrough that changed everything. While studying the alien metal under extreme conditions, she discovered that it responded to electromagnetic fields in ways that defied physics. "Kevin, look at this," she called to her assistant. "When I expose the material to a specific frequency, it becomes almost transparent to energy weapons." "You mean it could work as a shield?" "Better than that. Watch." Patricia adjusted her equipment and fired a laser at the alien metal. Instead of burning through it or bouncing off, the laser beam simply disappeared. It's absorbing the energy and redirecting it somehow. If we could replicate this on a larger scale, within hours, every major industrial facility on Earth was working to mass-produce Patricia's shield technology. Factories that had been making cars were retooled to build energy deflectors. Shipyards that had been building civilian vessels were converted to military production. The speed of human adaptation amazed even the humans themselves. Fleet Commander Zarthek watched from his command ship as strange energy readings appeared, all over Earth. In less than a week, the humans had gone from primitive technology to something his sensors could barely understand. "Science officer, explain these readings." "Commander, the humans appear to be modifying their technology at an unprecedented rate. We're detecting energy signatures that should be impossible with their known capabilities." "Could they have hidden technology that the survey missed?" "Unlikely, sir. This appears to be reverse engineering. They're somehow using fragments of our own technology to upgrade their systems." Zarthek had commanded enforcement actions against dozens of primitive worlds. None of them had ever shown this kind of rapid adaptation. Class 9 species were supposed to be overwhelmed by superior technology, not inspired by it. Captain Amy Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the USS Columbia, but the ship around her was barely recognizable. Human and alien technology had been merged, in ways that should have been impossible. "Status report," she called to her crew. "Ma'am, the new shield generators are operating at 90% efficiency. The modified engines are giving us twice our previous speed, and the hybrid weapon systems are ready for testing." "What about the other ships in the fleet?" "All 17 vessels have been upgraded with the new technology. We're no longer just a human fleet, ma'am. We're something new." Amy looked at the tactical display showing the alien ships in orbit above Earth. Soon, they would find out if human ingenuity was enough to level the playing field. Dr. Helen Wright worked in a different kind of laboratory, one focused on understanding alien communications, rather than their technology. She had made progress decoding the messages between the alien ships. "They're confused," she reported to the Joint Command Center. "The aliens keep referring to us as Class 9 primitives, but they're reporting capabilities that don't match that. Classification." "What kind of capabilities?" asked President Barnes. "Rapid technological adaptation, coordinated global response, and something they call unpredictable strategic thinking. They seem particularly concerned about our ability to modify their technology." General Frank Murphy had been monitoring alien communications from the ground. "Dr. Wright, are they planning to attack?" "Not yet, but they're requesting additional reinforcements. It appears our response has been much stronger than they expected. In laboratories around the world, human scientists were making breakthroughs that should have taken decades. The pressure of alien contact had accelerated human development by centuries in just days. Dr. Sam Miller in Tokyo discovered how to create artificial gravity using alien principles. Dr. Carlos Mendez in Mexico City learned to generate energy shields that could protect entire cities. Dr. Sarah Johnson in London found ways to make human computers process information faster than alien systems. But the most important breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Lieutenant Commander Rachel Adams was not a scientist. She was a Navy intelligence officer who had been assigned to study alien behavior patterns. While the scientists focused on technology, she focused on strategy. "They're not just confused," she reported to the Joint Command. "They're scared." "Scared of what?" asked Admiral Susan Torres. "Of us. Every communication we've intercepted shows increasing concern about human unpredictability. They keep trying to fit us into their classification system, but we don't match any of their categories." Rachel pulled up translated messages from the alien fleet. "Look at this exchange between their commanders. They're reporting that humans show impossible adaptation rates and strategic thinking beyond classification parameters." President Barnes studied the intelligence reports. "So they expected us to surrender when faced with superior technology? More than that, ma'am. They expected us to be grateful. Their entire first contact protocol is based on primitive species being impressed by advanced technology and accepting alien guidance. Instead, we reverse-engineered their technology and unified our entire planet for defense." "Exactly. We've broken their model of how intelligent species are supposed to behave. The breakthrough that changed everything came from combining all the human discoveries. Dr. Patricia Stone's shield technology, Commander Steve Collins's hybrid fighters, and Lieutenant Commander Rachel Adams's strategic insights." "What if we're not trying to match their technology?" Rachel suggested during a joint planning session. "What if we use our advantages instead?" "What advantages?" asked General Bennett. "They have faster ships, better weapons, and superior numbers. They also have rigid thinking. Every communication shows they're trying to classify us, to make us fit their expectations. But humans don't fit into neat categories." Dr. Patricia Stone understood immediately. "She's right. All their technology seems designed for predictable threats. But human behavior is inherently unpredictable." Commander Steve Collins was already thinking tactically. "So instead of trying to build better versions of their technology, we build different technology, something they've never seen before." The plan that emerged was unlike anything in military history. Instead of trying to defeat the aliens with superior force, humanity would use creativity, unpredictability, and rapid adaptation. Patricia's team built shields that worked in ways alien sensors couldn't predict. Steve's pilots practiced maneuvers that violated every principle of space combat. Rachel's intelligence teams prepared strategies that relied on doing the opposite of what logic suggested. "We're not trying to be better than them," President Barnes explained to the world leaders. "We're trying to be different from anything they've ever faced." As the first week of alien contact ended, both sides prepared for what seemed inevitable. The aliens had come to enforce their authority over a primitive Class 9 species. Instead, they found humans who refused to accept any classification at all. In the depths of space, more alien ships were already traveling toward Earth. The Galactic Council had decided that humanity required a much larger enforcement action. But on Earth, humans continued to do what they did best: adapt, innovate, and refuse to give up. The next phase of contact would determine whether humanity's rapid evolution was enough to survive what was coming. The aliens had underestimated human potential once already. They would not make that mistake again. The attack began at dawn on the 10th day after first contact. Fleet Commander Zarthek had received orders directly from the Galactic Council. Demonstrate overwhelming force to bring the humans in line. The Class 9 species had shown disturbing signs of development, but they were still primitives who needed to learn their place in the galactic order. All ships, commence enforcement action, Zarthek commanded. Target their military installations first. Avoid civilian casualties where possible. The 5 alien warships opened fire simultaneously. Energy beams that could vaporize mountains struck military bases around the world. The aliens expected to see human defenses crumble immediately. Instead, they watched in amazement as their weapons struck shimmering barriers of light and disappeared harmlessly. Dr. Patricia Stone's shield. Technology had been deployed faster than anyone thought possible. Every major city, military base, and industrial center on Earth was now protected by energy barriers that made alien weapons useless. Impossible, breathed Zarthek's science officer. Those shields are using our own technology principles, but modified in ways we don't understand. From the bridge of the USS Columbia, Captain Amy Rodriguez watched the alien attack fail. All ships, activate hybrid systems. Let's show them what human engineering can do. The international fleet rose from Earth's oceans like ghosts, 17 ships that looked familiar but moved in ways that defied physics. Human hulls powered by alien energy sources, human weapons guided by technology that learned and adapted in real time. Commander Steve Collins led the hybrid squadron into space, 12 fighters that flew like no craft in galactic history. They moved in patterns that seemed random, but were actually based on complex mathematical theories that human pilots had learned to fly by instinct. Collins to all pilots, he radioed. Remember, they expect us to fly like machines. Instead, we fly like humans. The alien fleet tried to track the human fighters, but their computers couldn't predict movements based on intuition rather than logic. Every time alien targeting systems locked onto a human ship, the pilot would make a decision that had no logical basis but perfect tactical sense. Lieutenant Commander Rachel Adams had been right about alien psychology. They were so used to predictable enemies that creativity confused their entire military doctrine. Fleet Commander, reported Zarthek's tactical officer, the human fighters are using impossible flight patterns. Our targeting computers cannot maintain locks. Switch to manual targeting. Sir, their movements appear random but are somehow avoiding all our weapons fire. It's like they know where we're going to shoot before we do. Back on Earth, the Global Command Center was buzzing with activity. President Barnes watched tactical displays that showed something remarkable. Humanity was not just surviving the hay. Alien attack, they were winning. General Bennett, status report. Ma'am, their initial bombardment was completely ineffective against our shield systems. Our fleet has engaged their ships and is causing significant damage. But there's something else. What? They're holding back. Analysis suggests their ships have much more firepower than they're using. They seem to be trying to disable rather than destroy. Dr. Helen Wright had been monitoring alien communications throughout the battle. President Barnes, you need to hear this. She played a translated conversation between alien commanders. Fleet Commander, the humans are exceeding all combat parameters. Request permission to use full weapon systems. Negative. Council orders are to subdue, not exterminate. These primitives must learn obedience, not face annihilation. Sir, with respect, these are not primitives. They're fighting like a Class 3 military force. Impossible. Continue with minimum force protocols. President Barnes understood immediately. They're not trying to destroy us. They think they're disciplining children who got out of line. The battle in space was unlike anything recorded in galactic history. Human ships used tactics that seemed impossible, while alien ships tried to capture rather than kill. But the Real surprise came when humanity revealed just how much they had learned from alien technology. Dr. Patricia Stone had done more than just copy alien shields. She had improved them. The energy barriers protecting Earth were now absorbing power from the alien attacks and using it to strengthen themselves. "The more they shoot at us, the stronger our defenses become," she reported with amazement. "Their own weapons are powering our protection." But the greatest shock came when Captain Amy Rodriguez ordered the Columbia to use its new hybrid weapons system. The alien ships had never faced weapons that combined human creativity with alien technology, energy beams that changed frequency in mid-flight, projectiles that adapted their targeting as they flew, missiles that learned from each shot and became smarter. "Direct hit on Alien Vessel 3, reported the Columbia's tactical officer. "Their shields are down to 60%. Zarthek couldn't believe the reports coming from his fleet. "How are primitive projectile weapons penetrating our energy shields?" "Sir, they're not using primitive weapons anymore. Somehow they've combined their technology with ours to create hybrid systems that our defenses weren't designed to handle." The alien commander faced a terrible choice. His orders were clear: subdue the humans with minimal force. But the humans were proving impossible to subdue with anything less than total war. Commander Steve Collins pressed his advantage in space. The hybrid squadron had engaged 2 alien ships and was slowly wearing down their defenses through pure unpredictability. "Collins to Fleet Command," he radioed. "We've got them confused up here. They keep expecting us to fight like machines, but we're fighting like humans." "What's the difference?" asked Admiral Torres. "Machines follow programmed responses. Humans make it up as they go along." The turning point came when Lieutenant Commander Rachel Adams implemented the most audacious part of the human strategy. Instead of just defending against the alien attack, humanity went on the offensive in a way that shocked the galaxy. Human ships began targeting alien vessels not to destroy them, but to board them. "All units, execute boarding protocol," ordered Captain Rodriguez. "Let's show them how humans fight up close." The aliens had never conceived of such a tactic. Their ships were filled with automated defenses and energy barriers designed to stop other ships, not individual soldiers with improvised equipment. Marine units led by Sergeant Lisa Hayes, the woman who had started it all in Colorado, breached. Alien hulls using cutting tools reverse-engineered from alien technology. They moved through alien ships like ghosts, using human understanding of alien psychology to predict where defenses would be weakest. "These corridors are designed for tall, thin aliens," Lisa radioed to her team. "Stay low and use their own architecture." Against them, the aliens had never faced boarding actions before. In their experience, inferior species surrendered when faced with superior technology. They had no training for fighting enemies inside their own ships. "Fleet Commander," came panicked reports from all 5 alien vessels. "The humans have breached our hulls. They're fighting inside our ships. How is that possible? Our energy barrier should prevent any boarding action. Sir, they're using our own technology against us. They've somehow learned to manipulate our defensive systems." The battle raged for 6 hours. In that time, humanity demonstrated capabilities that should have been impossible for a Class 9 species. They adapted alien technology faster than their creators could modify it. They used tactics that had never been seen in galactic warfare, and they fought with a creativity that confused every alien strategic computer. But the most important moment came when Fleet Commander Zarthek realized that his enforcement action was failing. "Communications. Send emergency signal to Galactic Council. Request immediate reclassification of human species." "What classification should I request, sir?" Zarthek watched human fighters dancing around his warships like insects around a flame. "Impossible to catch, but delivering painful stings with every pass." "I don't know. Nothing in our system covers this." On Earth, President Barnes received reports that seemed too good to believe. Humanity had not just survived first contact with an advanced alien civilization. They had fought them to a standstill. General Bennett, what's our status? Ma'am, we've disabled 2 alien ships and boarded 3 others. Our losses are minimal. The aliens seem to be withdrawing to defensive positions. Are they retreating? No, ma'am. They're regrouping, but they're not attacking anymore either. Dr. Helen Wright intercepted the most important communication of the entire battle, a message from the alien fleet to their home government that would change everything. President Barnes, you need to hear this. It's Fleet Commander Zarthek reporting to the Galactic Council. The translation was clear and shocking. Council Command, enforcement action against Earth has failed. Human species demonstrates capabilities far beyond Class 9 parameters. They have successfully adapted our technology, employed unknown tactical systems, and shown strategic thinking that exceeds our models. Request immediate consultation with the xenopsychology experts. These beings do not fit any known classification. President Barnes smiled for the first time in days. Dr. Wright, what does this mean for humanity? It means they finally understand that we're not primitive, but I don't think they understand what we actually are yet. The battle for Earth's independence was far from over, but humanity had proven something that would echo Thor.